Today we're going to be looking at one of the iconic fountain pens out there, the Pelikan M800 in green and black, which was the original color that was launched together with the pen in 1987. So first of all, I chose to get this pen in green and black precisely because of how it looks, and I'm recording today in kind of daylight to kind of show you the play of light against the cellulose acetate body that this pen, at least this part of the pen, is made of. The rest of the black bits are made of resin, and it's really a really beautiful pen. And lots of videos and reviews out there. Even when you're looking at this pen in a fountain pen shop, the interior lighting, the fluorescent lights don't do this pen justice, I believe. I chose to get the pen in the traditional green color as well. Originally I thought of getting the blue, but I think it was a good choice after having this pen in my hand. Before looking at the pen itself, as usual, let's take a look at the box. And this is where I would kind of give and take away some marks from Pelikan, in that, I don't understand why is it that they always insist on giving these big boxes out. One suggestion to them is, cut down on wastage. Ship the pen maybe in a tiny, in a case or in a little bag. That would probably be a better choice rather than having all this packaging down here. So you have an outer cardboard box, then you have an inner one, and I'll try to do this quick. Inside the box you'll get a little fake pouch, which I really do not understand why they do that. Then inside here you would get typically two pieces of documentation. The first one is the warranty. That's important because every Pelikan that you buy brand new has a 3-year international warranty. So make sure that you keep that in a safe place. The other booklet is one where they show all the various models of Pelikans that they have, and some verbiage about and some colors of the inks that they produce. Like I mentioned, I wish they would just keep this on their website and kind of spare us from having to keep these boxes. So looking at the pen, before I look at the pen itself, I just wanted to compare it with some fairly typical fountain pens that you might have. So for example, I guess most people would have an Eco in their collection, and as you can tell, with the pens capped, they are roughly the same size. And then bringing back my M600, just trying to line up the bottoms of the pen to kind of give you an idea of the dimensions. And this is my M200, which I have been using for quite a long time, and it really does look very small in this company down here. But again, in the daylight you can kind of appreciate the effort that Pelikan has done in kind of the bodywork of their pens. So looking at the M800 cap first, you get the new style Pelikan top cap. Originally these were black, right, and they were made of brass, and they had a different number of chicks down here. This particular one is the modern one where it only has one Pelikan and a chick down here. You get the Pelikan beak, you get the resin cap, and you get the wordings down here that says Souverän, Germany, and Pelikan. Right. The older ones used to have West Germany, just to take note. On the bottom part of the pen, you just get the piston mechanism. And opening it up, you get the body. The section is pretty short. However, it is thicker and girthier compared to the M600 and the M200, obviously. I measured this at roughly 11 millimeters, which for me is an ideal girth. However, with this short section down here, you're kind of forced to hold it here, or maybe just behind the thread area if you like to hold the pen further back. You get that acetate or cellulose acetate body that I mentioned earlier on, and you get the piston, which I'm not going to operate because this pen is filled with ink. And basically how it works in terms of this body is you actually have a wrapping of cellulose, and the barrel is actually within that wrapping, and you can actually see through the cellulose. You probably can't see it because the light is coming this way, but if there was light coming this way, for example, if you were holding up the pen against the light, you could probably see the ink capacity. Not very clear, but you will have a sense of how much ink you have left in the pen. And looking at the nib, it's an 18 karat nib. It's a size 6 nib, going by the international standard of pen nib sizes. And it's, in my particular case down here, I have a broad. So the M800 nibs, the modern ones at least, and this is the feed, which is kind of has dried up ink on it. I've actually inked up this pen with Diamine Majestic blue. And talking about the nib sizes available for this pen, you have fine, you have extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of writing with this pen and give you my thoughts. And this paper is actually Clairefontaine paper today. So the pen is pretty smooth. The nib feels very, very smooth. And as you probably expect from a Pelikan, it is decently wet, right? I mean, it does lay down a decent amount of ink. Not much in terms of variation. I mean, you know, if I do this, you can see that the lines are pretty even this way, right? So not a pen to be used for that. Is it very soft? Not really. I wouldn't call it a nail, but basically it's kind of halfway between being very soft and very hard. I mean, it's okay, right, in a way. So what are my impressions of this pen? First of all, let's take a look and bring up you can kind of see a bit of the sheen from the Majestic blue. So closing out this quick look, let me give you some of my thoughts. This is a very well-made pen using materials that are not that often used nowadays, i.e. cellulose. It's a very well-made pen in terms of its build. It's very, it fits probably the majority of people out there, unless you have really large hands or really small hands. Incidentally, the dimensions from the tip of the nib to the back of the pen is about 127.5 millimeters, which to me it's kind of ideal. The build quality is pretty good. The only issues I can kind of see is some of the times the nibs as they come out from the factory might need a little bit of tuning. The tines might be misaligned occasionally. However, that's something that can be corrected by yourself pretty easily. The piston mechanism, as I mentioned earlier on, is probably one of the best in the business. It's super smooth and very reliable. Another plus point for this pen is the ease in which it can be cleaned, right? So the nib can be unscrewed pretty easily just by turning this, and then you can shoot some water into the ink compartment to kind of rinse it out. Very easy to clean, very easy to maintain. Some negatives would be the choice of nibs. We don't get the choice nowadays for modern Pelikans of those fancy IB, the italic rods or the oblique nibs that they used to have in the past, right? We are left with fairly safe and boring options, and that's, to me, is kind of a downside. The last thing that I want to mention, and that's probably the elephant in the room, especially for people who live outside of Europe. Why do I say that is, in Europe you can probably get this pen for kind of a decent price, but in Singapore where I live, the M800 costs roughly the same price in Singapore dollars as the name of the pen, which is around 800 or slightly less Singapore dollars, full retail price. And then that to me is quite a lot for a pen, right? Regardless of how well it's built and so on. So to answer the question which I typically ask at the end of my reviews, would I buy this pen again if I had lost it or I damaged it in any way? For me, it's easy one, definitely yes. For the reasons which I mentioned earlier on in terms of the positives versus the negatives. So I hope you liked the quick look today. Let me know your thoughts. Give me a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.